Hi, everyone. Welcome to OrTalk. And I am so excited over today's episode. It's personal, it's a beautiful conversation. It's a conversation as though we're sitting all around the table with honesty and depth and sincerity. And today we're going to talk a little bit with a splash of humor as well. So today we're stepping into the world of Shidduchim. And we're not only going for one perspective, we're going for three perspectives here. I'm joined by Aleeza Ben Shalom, who's very well known for her work in dating and marriage mentorship. I know Aleeza for a very long time, and it's just so beautiful to see the amazing work that she's putting out there. And I have a little bit of a personal touch here, an extension, my beautiful extension of self, my beautiful son, Netanel Riter, who is actively working in the world of Shidduchim and a shadchan in the more religious community. And today we are going to explore what really happens behind the scenes of matchmaking, expectations, misunderstandings, and again, some humorous moments to kind of probe the minds of these two beautiful shadchanim and matchmakers. So we're going to start very simple, and I want to talk to you, Aleeza, and address and ask you a question from your perspective, from your experience working with singles. I'd like to hear from you one pattern that you see over and over and over again that makes you kind of sometimes scratch your head and want to say, I'm going to rethink this one. I don't know how to respond to her or to him. Do you ever have situations like that?
Usually when I have patterns that repeat, I try to figure out how I can navigate around it creatively. So, for example, one of the patterns is somebody says, "Listen, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if I should go out again, and I think you should be sure." So if I'm not sure, then I guess that's my answer. And I guess this should be a no. And my answer is, if it's not a no, if it's not a hard no, if it's not a definitely you're not for me, then it's a yes for another date. And the logic of saying, if I'm not convinced that this is my person, then I guess I shouldn't even continue dating. I think that people have it backwards.
Very interesting. Very. And do they take it in when you say that to them? Like, how is their response? Like when you say that to them, are they like, pushing you away? Are they like, welcoming that response?
Many people say, like, but I don't want to go out again. I said, great, then tell me this is a definite no. They're like, well, how would I definitely know? I said, because if it's a no, it's a definite no. And if it's not a no, it's a go. Or when in doubt, go out. I'm always using different phrases to try to get people to step into the logic. And I will ask them, are you sure? And if they say, I'm not sure, I said, then just go out one more date. And their answer is, but I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to lead anybody on. And when you are dating seriously and you're dating for marriage and you're doing it in a very fast, accelerated time frame, one more date can really mean a lot. It almost feels like, another month, another year to people that wouldn't date in that way. So I understand what they're saying, but I've also seen people make a mistake and end something, and then they end up dating them 5 years later, and they're like, oh, I should have given them a chance or sooner. Why didn't I go out with them again? I can't remember. And it's because it wasn't convincing enough to be a yes. I don't need a yes for marriage. I just need a yes for another date. And if it's a hard no, then it's a no. But if it's not a hard no, it's a go. It's a yes. Not because I want to. I don't even need you to like the idea of going out with them. I just need you to choose it because that's the right way to do dating.
I love it. Love it. Such amazing advice. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask the shadchan's perspective of this. So tell me, Netanel, what's something that you hear from people that makes you want to pause for a second? You're saying, you know what? I also have to rethink this. Makes you smile just a little bit when you speak to people in the religious community. What happens then?
So I really feel that there is a lack of flexibility, I think, with people. I think when people get a suggestion, they already like try to look for the flaws in it. Like, well, why did you think of this for me? What's so special about this guy? What's so special about this girl? Like, why, and it even gets even worse when I see that like when it's 25 and up, they are just like so comfortable in their singularity, right? And they're just like, okay, well, what's so different about this? Like for a guy, what's so different about this girl that I've been out with like 30 girls? Why is this one all of a sudden going to take me out of the singularity and now bring me into like a plural, like to find that one? So I feel like people are very not flexible, I would say, for the most part. And I really feel, yeah, people just need to give more chances. I know that it's hard to risk it all and stuff like that, but you can't build something if you're not willing to actually risk it. You gotta, put yourself out there and just somehow or another, with God's help as well, but to mentally also prepare yourself after every day to just kind of like remove yourself from the previous ones. I know it's easier said than done, but to remove yourself from the previous dates and to literally give every girl, again, for a guy, every girl, every guy, their own space, their own, like, this is a new person, like I'm starting a fresh page, like basically that's
That's
yeah.
so true. That's
Yeah,
so true. People build up like this momentum of feeling, and then
totally.
it's hard to take them out of the rut. You know, it's
Hmm.
hard to like press that restart button, right? Do you find that too, Aleeza? That it's hard to like press that restart button when they've been out and they've been disappointed again and again and again.
I think there's a high rate of burnout. I think that
Mm-hmm.
people date quickly, they date often. For
Mm-hmm.
some people, they don't date often enough. There's burnout from not dating.
Wow.
But when we are dating, there's and especially in very serious from dating, like I'm looking at you on a first date and I'm going, "Are you my person? Are you my person?" Like literally right there in that moment. And to do that 30 times and continuously still have hope that your person exists, it starts to feel not impossible, but not probable. It's like, but I have so much data and proof that it doesn't work. And they're
Right.
right. Until you meet the person, everything else looks as if it's a dating failure. And it is a failed date, which is great because you didn't marry the wrong person. We want it to fail. We don't want it to succeed. But it doesn't feel good and it continues to prove that there's nobody out there for me. This isn't going to work. So that feeling builds up. So I do see a lot of burnout. I often tell people, I give them like a prescription from Dr. Aleeza. Please send yourself on vacation. I don't care what you do. I don't care where you go. It can be 24 hours. It can be 3 days. It can be a week, but like stop dating. Just go do something that makes you happy, a hobby, an interest. Do something that builds you up on the inside so that when you walk away from this, and then you come back to this, you're fresh, you're new. Get a
Love it.
hobby so that when you go on a date, you have something to offer, you have something to bring to the table, which you're feeling a little burnt out. You're telling the same stories, you're doing the same things. I mean, some people, they even have their favorite date spot. They literally take the same new people to the same spot over and over again. And for them, nothing about dating starts to feel fresh. So yes, I see burnout a lot, and I like to pause. I say the quickest way to get married, stop dating, take care of yourself, do what you need to do, and then come back to it fresh.
Love it.
It's almost
Love
like we're unofficial what you call therapists, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's free therapy in the sense of,
it. Right.
to really send someone off like that. You go do vacation, like
Pause.
that's really, yeah,
Right.
that's
Center
necessary.
yourself. I'll tell you something. At Emuna, we do energy work, right? So I have a lot of, women, men come to me and they say like, I've been on so many dates and I'm already in my upper 20s and everyone's getting married on their second child. What do I do? And I exactly as both of you just mentioned, it's like, pause. If we're going to work together, we have to stop going out. I don't care if they read you the Mr. Universe or this Miss Universe. We are not dating. We're going to recalibrate. We're going to check our energy centers, see where we're holding, and then magnetize a completely different flow of people, right? Because karma works, right? You have to magnetize the right person.
100%.
Sure.
100%. So I'm going to ask you, Netanel, because I know sometimes we have our personal exchanges and we talk a little bit, and we I like to ask you like, where are you holding? What's going on? Who's going out? What's
Mhm.
what's in the biz? And I want to ask you, is there one request from somebody that comes your way that make you think, I really don't think that the person that they're asking for really exists on planet Earth. Like they're asking for like somebody from Mars in like or from a romantic Hollywood scene that really has no earthling body to
Mm.
it. Does that ever happen to you?
Well, I've had people literally send me checklists. Um, I mean, not like where I'm gonna start, putting a check on every box, but I'm saying that they literally send me a checklist, and I, to the best of my ability, I literally try to see if that guy or fits that mold. I feel like sometimes people aren't really realistic. Like, yeah, like I mean, when they're looking for something and they're so specific, it's like, does Mr. Perfect even exist? And even if, let's say, Mr. Perfect did exist, who said Mr. Perfect wants you? Or the opposite, you know what I mean? And then that would be the most like heart-wrenching, the fact that like, oh, I finally found him. This is the guy. And then he takes one look at your picture, or I don't know what, or even one date with you, and he's like, no, like, what's the connection between me and her and stuff like that. So I feel like, you're never gonna get your 100%, you know what I mean? You could get like maybe 60%, you know what I mean, if we're a little bit generous over here. And then once you get a chance to know the person's heart and get a chance to really speak to them on like a face-to-face value, and there's chemistry, and there's mutual understanding, and a lot of laughs throughout the date,
Right,
that becomes 100%, you know what I mean. So I feel like people do need to lower their standards a little bit.
right.
And yeah, just overall, just go with the flow. You know what I mean? Like if I suggested you somebody, it's because like I really felt like something was here. You know what I mean? And like I'm not gonna just throw every 5 seconds, a suggestion at you. You know what I mean? I really like, again, I'm sure Aleeza does the same thing. She's like, Baruch Hashem. You know what I mean? I feel like we take into consideration people's feelings, their wants, their needs as best as we possibly can, right? We're not God. But at the same time, there's just this aspect of like, okay, I'm suggesting you for someone finally, please just look at it seriously. You know what I mean? Don't push it aside and be like, oh, look at it for its value. You know what I mean?
Aleeza, do you find that as well? Do you feel like the people that you work with, that the singles that you work with, they have an issue with trusting? Like when do you find like you have put this effort into like really checking profiles or feeling the energies just in general, and they're like, no, but that's not what I asked for, and you're like, trust me.
So I don't like to go by trust me only, because even if I have a feeling, somebody has free will and they can choose anything that they want. And I'm not God. I don't know exactly if this is going to work for them. I might have a feeling. I might think it could work for them. I could see that it's going to work for them, but will they also see that? It
Mhm.
doesn't always happen. So what I like to do is have preliminary conversations and let them know there's different kinds of matches that I make, right? There's a match that's smart on paper. This looks good. Spoke to both of you, right? Looks good, sounds good. There's something here. There's an intuitive match where people, they talk to you and you're like that. In a minute, an idea comes to you and you're like, ah. And they're like, what? Oh, and they think that matchmakers, this happens to them all the time. They come up to you, they tell you their information, and they're like, who do you have? And I was like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, right?
Yep.
Yes, the nevuah, prophecy, and divine inspiration. It is just flowing through me at every second, every person I meet. I just, like AI, I scan your face, I scan my
There's the
database,
crystal
Yeah.
and boom,
ball,
I have a
crystal ball, right?
right. So, but it does happen. It does happen where I do have an intuition strongly when I meet somebody. I recently just had this. Somebody who I'd worked with previously, he was dating, they ended up breaking up, and he just messaged to say hi and check in and how are you? He wasn't even calling to say I'm dating and I'm on the market again, but I keep in touch with people. So he just reached out to say hello. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, you're available. I have an idea. So I was like, wait, are you even dating? He said, actually, I'm not. I'm taking a little bit of a pause. I said, good, you learned well. But I will be dating in about 2 months from now. I said, great, I have an idea. I'm writing a note because, by the way, when an inspiration comes, it doesn't always stay. So I wrote a little note in my calendar about who he is and what the story is and who I want to set him up with. And in 2 months, I'm going to make that suggestion. And I looked into it a little bit to see where she's holding and where he's at. And I think it's a nice idea. But what I do is I tell people, here's what I like about a suggestion, and here's what may not work for you. And I'm going to be honest with you, because if I tell you, oh my gosh, I just met the perfect person for you, you are not going to trust me. I wouldn't trust me, because nobody's perfect for you. They're perfectly imperfect for you. And together you will become one and build that relationship. But even the idiosyncrasies and the things that aren't perfect are perfectly aligned for the life that you need to lead and who you need to become. So I like to tell people what I love about a suggestion. And then I like to tell them one or two things where I say, listen, I don't know if this is going to work for you. I would really appreciate it if you would evaluate this. Would you consider going out with them? And I ask them to consider this. So the way that I have the communication with them, I like to get verbal confirmation of their buy-in. I like to be honest about what I know and where I'm at with the match. And I like to let them have free will. And sometimes I say, listen, I know you might say no, but I'd like you to consider saying yes. If I think they're going to say no, I'll say the no first. I know
Wow.
you might say no, but I'd actually rather you consider saying yes. And here's why I want you to consider it. And then I'll negotiate it out. If I feel strong, listen, if I feel strongly about it, you should probably say yes. And if it's not for you, it was still worth being one of the top 10 or 20 people you've dated that are actually relevant, as opposed to one of the top 50 people that are irrelevant. So, because I don't just make a suggestion every day, right? Like Netanel said, same thing. Like, I don't just throw an idea out there. It's an idea. Is it a
Right.
good idea, or is it just an idea?
Mhm.
If I suggest it, it's probably a good idea.
Right.
Right. Love it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I love
I
it.
love the fact also, like, again, not to be also virtual. You know what I mean? Like there are matchmakers out there, shidchanim out there that are virtual. You know what I mean? And not to push that aside, they're very successful. They do like I've seen multiple like groups and stuff like that that they barely speak to the guy, and somehow or another he like closes dates and couples like left and right. But like it's nice to give a little bit of more of a personal touch, and when you like speak to the person, or let alone meet them, and actually give them the time of day, first of all they feel very comfortable with you,
Right.
and also you feel like, okay, I actually get a gist of who you are, like I see you as a full package. It's not just like whatever. I mean, I personally unfortunately don't always have time to meet people face to face, but the bare minimum is to at least give a 10-15 minute phone call, even half an hour, sometimes it even goes, but like just give that personal touch. It goes a long way, and then people are really like they attach to you. At least I'm sure you know that, like they literally attach, and they're like, okay, like I feel like you get me, you understand me, and I don't feel like I'm just like talking to the wall. You know what I mean? This girl actually like listens to me. The matchmaker actually listens to me. It's
Yeah.
important.
Very, very. Everyone wants to be heard.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be seen because
Right.
they matter. Well, that's our motto in Emuna. So I'm going to ask both of you this question because I'm very curious to hear what your perspectives are. Would you say, what would you say to a person who comes to you and says, we've spoken about this because I feel like this is like the mainstream core complaint or issue that so many singles have, where they come to you and they say, you know what, I've been on so many dates. I don't know. I'm calling you because my friend told me to call you, but I'm being honest with you. I'm so discouraged at this point. I don't even know if I can find another, dress or put on another suit for a man. Like, I just don't know. How do you boost them up? How do you, like, what angle do you come at them? I'll start with you, Aleeza, to enable them to, like, again, that restart button. Like, do you use humor? Do you use Emuna? Do you use, universal wisdom? Like, what's your take on that, Aleeza?
So it depends on the personality of the person, but I would use all of those things for the right person. So for some people, I'll say, listen, it's just between us. You tell them, I talked to Aleeza. She's working on it. And when nothing happens, because I don't need to work on it if you're not ready now, then you can blame me. It's my fault. I'm a bad matchmaker. But you can maintain this good relationship with this friend or family member. And I was like, you're totally off the hook. Like, I don't, like, you called me. We don't even have to finish the call. We can even just say, mwah, thank you for calling. I love you, in the right time, and give them Emuna. In the right time, you're going to meet the right person. I always tell people that we're not looking for a unicorn, right? If I tell you, you need to go out there and we are going to find a unicorn, we are going on a treasure hunt today. You know it's not possible. But if I tell you, I want you to go find a zebra, you're going to go look either in a zoo or in a country that has them, right? So your soulmate is not a unicorn. It's not that they don't exist. It's not real. You're Your person's a zebra. They're just different. They're not a horse. They're not a rhinoceros. They're not in every single country, but they're here. They're living. They're breathing. They exist. They're in this earth. And when you're ready to find them, then call me back and we'll have a conversation and we'll take a look at it and take 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, whatever space you need. You'll find the right person in the right time. And right now, it's not the right time. Work on the first half of the soul. We got one half of the soulmate over here. That's you. Work on that and in the right time. So the right person will be drawn to you. You'll be drawn to them and it'll be the right moment. Chasing after something when it's the wrong time never works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Netanel, what do you do? What do you do? I'm sure, like, especially, I mean, I know there are those in their 30s and their 40s. I mean, listen, I don't like to name people by their age. I mean, who sets the you have to marry by, right? To keep up with the Joneses. But what do you do, Netanel, when somebody reaches out to you and says, I'm just so discouraged. I just don't know if I even have it in me, but my friend told me about you.
Right. So I've had it where parents are like, listen, I have a child, I want them to go out and everything like that. But they really don't like believe in this whole system at all. They just want like a friend to suggest a friend, and that way they know each other and so on and so forth. So I'm like, listen, give me their number. I'll first say like have them reach out to me, like whatever it is. But if I really hear from them that there's like a pushback and that like, the child is really not interested, so then like give me their number and I'll call them, like whatever it is. But in general, like with a conversation with a single, I try to like almost be a friend. You know what I mean? I'm first like I'm coming from like that kind of perspective, and like again, I don't feel comfortable to suggest you anybody without actually getting to know you. So you know what I mean? So there's that first of all, that introduction, and I'm just like this stranger that they're talking to, but at least let me break the ice, and that like when I introduce myself, that way you'll feel a little bit more comfortable, and then we're more on like an acquaintances, and and I just want to hear. I want to hear what you're about. I want to hear where you're coming from. I want to hear your life story. Like whatever in the time that we have, the slot that we have to talk. And just to really, yeah, and I do try to add a little bit of humor. You know what I mean? Just to again break the ice as best as possible. But yeah, that's more or less where I'm at. Again, just to really get them to a place of like they now know me, and now I'm a friend, and I'm not just like just a random person. I'm not like the grandmother, the 7-year-old grandmother in Mea Sharim that's I have a grandmother. Like that's not. I have a grandson for you. That's not what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Like I really try to get to that level of like especially if they're also around my age. So then, then it's like, hey, listen, we can talk, we got the same language, the same lingo, you know what I mean? So
Right.
there's that as well. Yeah, I just try to break the ice for them to feel more comfortable. I'll put myself out there more. And yeah, B'ezrat Hashem, they feel a lot more comfortable, and then they'll be a little bit more receptive to hearing like what the suggestion that I have.
I love it. I
Yeah.
do. The personal aspect, I'm sure, Aleeza, you also feel the personal aspect of really there's a person. It's not just a shidduch paper with a photo on there. This is a real person. This is the child of somebody. This is somebody who has dreams and thoughts and, yeah, emotions. Absolutely. I'm going to ask you, Aleeza, because I find that this is also another issue, at least that comes up me as being an Emuna mentor and, energy therapist. I also find when I speak to singles, where do you find that people tend to lose themselves the most in the process? Like, where do they forget about themselves? And they tend to be enmeshed in the process so much, or they're under so much pressure to get married already, or whatever, that they actually lose a sense of self.
I think,
Where do you find that?
yeah, I think when they start to date and it's been so many times and it hasn't worked, then they start to ask, what's wrong with me?
Wow.
Now, they didn't ask what's wrong with the situation, what's wrong with the system. Sometimes they'll ask what's wrong with the system, but often because we're self-reflective, which is beautiful, and we're growth-oriented, which is beautiful. But the question that they ask is, what's wrong with me? And the short answer is probably nothing, right? There's probably nothing that's specifically wrong with you. Could we all grow? Yes. Can we all be better? Yes. Could we all still get married in the imperfect / perfectly imperfect state that we're in? Yes. So what I'd rather ask is, what could I be doing differently in the process? Or how could I navigate this in a different way? Instead of looking at me and saying, something must be wrong with me. What should I change about me so somebody else will like me more? maybe I'm not dating the right type of people. So maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. There's nothing wrong with me, but there's something wrong with the type of people I'm choosing to go out with, or that I'm saying that I'm looking for, or people are suggesting a certain type of person and it keeps not working. Maybe I could try a different type of person. It's nothing that's actually wrong with me. It's just that I'm navigating the process in a certain way. And, like if you keep slamming up against a wall, like, so stop walking that direction, just turn a different direction, and maybe you're going to get different results.
Love that. Love that. So Netanel, let me ask you. So how can a person stay emotionally grounded and loyal to themselves when things aren't going as they expect? In other words, we do tend, as human beings, when things don't go our way, we're like, oh, but she gave me an idea. Well, maybe I'll go and do that. Or he gave me, maybe I'll do that. Like, again, how do you stay true to yourself when you feel like things aren't going your way and you feel like, okay, the clock is ticking? How do you go with that flow? How do you know if it's time to adapt, readjust, or just stay loyal to what you felt was really important to you?
So I feel like there's supposed to be negotiables and non-negotiables. I think everybody has those. They have their, green, yellow, and red flags, as I like to call it. You know what I mean? Like red flags are like nothing to talk about. Yellow is like okay, it's up for conversation, and green is like yalla, like I don't care. Sure, no problem. I have no issue with that. So, and obviously, also nobody really stays the same, especially if they're going out for so many years. You know what I mean? Like people go through their Emuna and Bitachon, issues with, relationship with God as well. Some people really become a little bit more open when they were a little bit more, I'd say, frum or a little bit more, closed and conservative, and then they just kind of almost like lose hope in that sense. I feel like everyone needs to just hone back at what they're bringing to the table, and really know their self value and know their self worth, and so like this is what I'm bringing. This is what I have to share, and this is the type of life that I want to live. Even again, we tweak it here and there because sometimes again, we don't stay the same. Like when we started dating at 22, I'm not the same as I was when now I'm 28. You know what I mean? Like it's just life changes, different situations. We go through things, sometimes traumatic events. We change and we evolve. I guess that's the best world. And even with somebody that unfortunately goes down the path of not becoming more religious, but that's their journey. You know what I mean? That's their journey and their connection to God. Nobody can put a number on that or a name on that. That's their own personal evaluation and their own thing, and that's it. So I feel like people need to remind themselves of their self value and what they bring to the table, and to always go back to that. I know, again, easier said than done, but that is like, if, as Aleeza said, if you've been dating so much, you've been a serial dater, take the break, go on your self, self understanding journey, a self awareness journey, and just come back to the table with understanding of what you come to the table, and really be like, this is me, this is where I'm holding, and in a sense of like take it or leave it. You know what I mean? In terms of not to be so so boastful about it, but exactly, to just come to the place with like, I'm confident in where I'm at, and there are things that we can discuss and whatever it is, but there needs to be certain points that I'm like, this is who I am, and accept that. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. I
Yeah.
love the way that both you're describing, like really bringing human element to the whole, back into the whole process. Like, again, there is that human element of self-reflection and self-check-in and so on and so forth. So Nitin, I got to ask you this, okay? Because I know we've had our personal, go-tos. So be honest, without revealing anything like really detailed, right?
I'll try.
Okay. What's a moment in your shidduch matchmaking where you just were just like you couldn't hold it? You were almost like ready to crack up like in laughter. Like, what can you recall a moment like that where you're just like, I can't believe they just said that. I can't believe that they're asking for that, or I can't believe that this is what they did on the date. I mean, just a moment like that.
I have to think about that, like, because there's actually multiple, but I think the again, I kind of go back to the idea when they come to me and they tell me what they're looking for. Some things are just really not realistic. Like they're literally like, I'll send them suggestions that I really feel are right, and then I feel also very uncomfortable because I'm sending them so many, but they're like, pushing it down because, I have a specific guy in my head that's like, every suggestion that I'm sending to him, he's like, no, this one's not this one. This one's not it. Like, it's just like, he's just looking at the physical features. You know what I mean? And like, with all the respect, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting any younger as well. You know what I mean? Like, and looks fade, with all due respect. You're also losing your hair. Like, let's just remember, that you're not also the most, whatever it is. But, all due respect to him, I just feel like it really does. Sometimes I really feel like I'm more laughing, more like I'm hitting my head against the wall with certain people. Like, I really want to help you, but you need to help yourself, help me, help you. You know what I mean? Like, show me that there's someone to talk to. And yeah, I think funnier is that where now that's just coming to my head a little bit, where people are late to the date and stuff like that. And this one, like, literally the excuses are like, sometimes the dog ate my homework kind of excuses. Like really, like, we gotta show up on time, make sure your schedule is, fitting for this date, because you want to show up and you want to show that, the guy, for example, like, show the girl that she's now the most important thing now that's happening in your life. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's hard to say that when it's just the first time you met or a second time, whatever it is, but like, the girl needs to see that, hey, you're showing up to her and you're really like, hey, like, this is important to me. This is not just like a side, hustle, I really want to find my match. So yeah, they're just more of hitting my head in the wall moments, I would say, than
Right.
laughing.
Aleeza, what do you have to say? Again, something that you would be like, what?
So
Something juicy, Aleeza. We want something juicy.
I'm going to tell you a couple of funny stories of things that happened, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So a guy drove in for a date to New York City, and he was exhausted. He had had a long day at work and a late night and a whole bunch of things. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go in early. I'll take a quick nap in my car, and I'll be ready for the date. And I'll come and I'll,
Oh
figure
boy.
the whole thing out. I get a call after the date, and she's really upset. It was before. I'm sorry, it wasn't after the date. I get a call. Where is he? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I know he drove in early. We're good. She's like, no, he's not here. And I'm like texting and calling and texting and calling. Yeah. About 25 minutes later, he's like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep and then the alarm and it didn't go. I know. He came
Oh
early, so he should be
my.
ready, so he should be rested, so everything should go perfectly and smoothly, and he
Oh
didn't wake up and
boy.
he's late for the date. So I said to her, listen, because she's already now waiting, I said, listen, I just want to tell you, he actually is a good guy. He actually, like, let me just tell you the intention behind this, because if you don't know the story, because some people are like, I don't want a story, I don't want an excuse. I said, this is not an excuse, but if you don't understand what happened, you don't understand the kind of human being he is. He actually intended to drive in early. He actually was tired. He didn't even want to come, but he came because he wanted to make an effort. And yes, alarm, whatever the story, fine. But the intention was to be ready for you and rested and fresh. And I'm sorry it didn't turn out that way, but I want to tell you, the heart, the mind, the actions were all there. And yeah, life happens. And if you can't laugh and roll with it and create the energy where this now becomes like, if you get married, that's your funny first date story. If you can't envision that as your funny story, you're right. This isn't your person, but almost nobody is your person, because there's always going to be these oopsies and these things that happen. Two more funny things, and both of these are the same. It happened in the same way. One guy was on a first date. He got up to go wash. He took his hat off. He put it on the seat. He came back. He sat down. He made hamotzi. And he had sat on his hat. He didn't pick up the hat. There's his hat afterwards, like punching it out to like put it back on. Yeah. Now look, on a first date, that can like kill a date. What's wrong with you? And like that you didn't even pay attention, right? Or you can laugh it off. You can use something that happens as fuel for connection, or you can use it as fuel for disconnection. And it's really all in your hands. The same thing happened at a Shabbos. There was like people coming together for a group Shabbos meal, and there was a couple that was meeting there for the first time. Whether or not they should meet at a Shabbos meal, that's a different story. And he like put the challah down and then promptly sat on the challah.
Oh.
Right? Again, you can either use that as a springboard for humor, connection, building the energy, talking about your energy work. That is perfect. When something goes wrong, that is the perfect way to build a beautiful connection with
Totally.
humor, fun, banter, play, or you can take it like intense and serious and then judge somebody, and then you can literally turn it into a negative moment.
Right.
It's all in your hands. It's
See,
literally
exactly. Actually, how do they respond in such
right.
a whoopsie kind of situation?
You should
It's a
make
really,
intentionally a whoopsie kind of
Right.
situation. On
yeah,
purpose, you should do something that's an
Right.
oopsie, just so
yeah.
that somebody you can see how somebody reacts because
Love
Right.
it.
Exactly.
you know the kind of person they are deep down.
Right.
Totally. Love it. Love it.
Right.
Love it. Okay. I have one last question. I feel like I want to ask really both of you again. So I'm going to ask you, Aleeza, can you give one solid piece of advice that would save singles so much stress in dating? Like, what would that be? That one piece of advice that would really help them go through the process with more ease, with more emuna, with more humor, right? With more success. If we could even sprinkle that on.
I had a conversation with a guy once. He tells me everything that he's looking for. I said, "Great." I repeat it back to him in my own words. This is what you're looking for. We go through the whole thing. And he goes, "Well, not exactly." Now, this was an hour-long conversation. I said, "What do you mean, not exactly?" I thought, like, I got my list, I got everything. And he goes, "Well, that's what my mother wants." I said, "Okay, can you please tell me what you want? But not now. I have another call." So let's book another time to speak. I don't want to know what your mother wants. I want you to know what your mother wants. I want you to know what everybody in your life wants. And then I want you to take all of those thoughts and I want you to put them on the side. And then I want you to tell me, what do you actually want? Who do you want to marry? What is your kind of person? Don't tell me only the kind of person that will fit into your family, because your family is not married to them. You have to live with them every single day. Your family will see them, but not in the same way you will. You have to choose them, but it really has to work for you. Maybe they'll be similar to your family if that's what you want to need, and maybe they'll be very different from your family. I don't know. But if I don't understand and you don't understand actually what you want, then I can't help you, because I'm going to look for something, but I'm only going to look for what you tell me. And if you're telling me somebody else's description, I'm going to bring you somebody else's person. So please help me help you and think about, what do you want? And you might need to literally get paper out and write down what everybody else wants for you and then put it over there and then sleep on it. And then the next day or the next week say, and what do I really want? And every time you write it down, I want you to look at it. Is that what I want, or is it what somebody else wants for me? Oh, it's what I want? Okay. And somebody else wants it for me also? Okay, good, great. But this is what I want. That to me is where people
Oh,
trip up. It's where they get confused, because I
wow.
don't know the difference between my thinking and your thinking. And I know you only want, if you're my parent or my best friend or my sibling, you only want what's best for me. And you think you know what's best for me, but I have to choose everything. And a lot of parents will say, "I know what's best for my child." And I will respectfully say, you want what's best for your child, but your child needs to know what's going to be best for themselves, and we need to find what is going to match and fit them. And that to me is the most important thing in order for people to get out of their own way, is to actually zone into the right thing for them without everybody else's lists.
Totally.
For
Oh,
sure.
very resonate that with that. Netanel, what do you have to say? What would be your solid piece of advice?
So I go a little bit more on the spiritual aspect of it all, because I've had guys, again, specifically guys that have gone out and they're either really nervous before the date, or they're just like really not sure about it all. And they're just like, kind of questioning. And it could be, legitimate questions, or it could just be, they're their worst own enemy. You know what I mean? Like that they're just, fighting their own brain and just trying to make sense out of everything. I literally, I've told them, first of all, I've even mentioned them to say like a Tehilim before they even go out.
Hmm.
Again, them being a little bit more on the frommer side. Um, and then I've actually like said like, all, in Hebrew, I'll translate in English with like, Hashem, like, I don't know what's right for me. I don't know what's necessary of me and what's needed of me, but I know that I need to be a good a good Ibid, for the lack of a better term, for you, Hashem. I need to work you, like
Be a
worship
servant.
you.
Right.
Yes, be your servant. That was the word. I need to be a proper servant for you. And if this girl is gonna make me get closer to you, then help me see that
Wow.
clearly
Love it.
without any disturbances, without any, like, just clear as day. Like, as you just open the radio and you heard your favorite song, like, I want that to be like so clear. And and if it's not, then let that also be very clear. You know what I mean? Like, I want clear direction, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to build a house. I'm here to build a future, family and kids, and bring them up also, on my hashkafa and my, way that I want to live my religiousity. And like, just help me be closer to you. If this girl is going to help me be closer to you, then make that very clear. And if not, then please God, let it, be turned off, let it close, in the nice way where she's not hurt, I'm not hurt. Everyone just moves on in their way. And
Love
that's
it.
more or less. And it's just, it kind of brings you in the zone. It brings you in a place where, like, that's it. I sent it up. Like, that's it. It's not in my hands anymore. I'm doing what I can. And please God, it should just go, smoothly. And Bezat Hashem, really, things should just be very clear in that sense.
Fantastic.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
clarity I think is like such an important point.
100%.
Right, right. Okay, beautiful. Well, I have to say, this has been so refreshing and such a beautiful, honest conversation. I feel that this was also very reassuring for so many who are listening to this, who are, going through the process. And listen, dating and relationships can feel very, very heavy at times. It can feel very overwhelming. We can get very discouraged. And I feel like we sprinkled here a nice shift of a perspective, um, to kind of like bring it all together. So, Aleeza, Netanel, first of all, thank you both for bringing in your own perspectives, your own insights, your honesty, your humor, your lightness into the conversation. Aleeza, I want to please give you a couple moments to share with everyone how they can reach out to you. Anything that they need to know to reach out to you, please. I'm sure there are going to be many that are going to want to tap into your process, yeah, and
Thank
get
you.
into your services.
Thank you. With pleasure. So you can go to marriagemindedmentor.com.
Love it.
That's my website. We have a database. If anybody wants to join a free database and be a part of just the larger network of shadchanim that are looking for people, we can help in that way. We do offer coaching and other services as well. And online, if you look up Aleeza Ben Shalom, you'll see me wherever you may be, depending on what level you hold at. We
Right.
try to put out a lot of good free information and content. I have a podcast. It's called the Jewish Matchmaker Podcast, and you can listen to lots of wisdom there and articles all over on aish.com and other places as well. I love to just share the wisdom, and so many people tell me, they're like, I wanted to call you and I was going to, but I read an article, I heard a podcast, I did something, I followed the advice, it worked. I'm like, what did I say? I'm so excited. What did I say? And then they tell me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good advice. They're like, it worked.
And then on the side, you're like, I don't remember saying that.
I have my things,
Okay, okay.
but they give me a story. Like, remember you told the story about this guy and the girl, and I had the same thing. And I was also, I said yes to one match, and then I said yes to another, and I didn't know who to go out with. And this is how I
Love it.
decided. So I love it. I love hearing all the stories and all of the successes, and just sharing the wisdom.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Amazing. Netanel, how can people reach out to you and get to know you and befriend you and be on your database?
Well, mainly WhatsApp, honestly. I did recently just open Instagram. So, like, I call the Shidduchim database Soul Sparks, in Hebrew, Nitzotzot Neshama.
Love it.
And I do also put a little bit of content, just a little bit. I had a little series called Dear Parents, and I took a few episodes in regards to that. And now I'm just in the middle of taking out episodes on Dear Singles. We'll see where that also goes. But they can reach me through WhatsApp, through my number, 050-298-9981 with the area code of Israel, 972. Or on Instagram, they can write to me from Soul Sparks MM. You can search that up, and feel free to reach out.
Love
I'd
it.
love to help whoever.
Really love it. This was great. Really, thank you to both of you, and stay tuned for more OrTalk episodes. I'm looking forward to bringing amazing guests, and this was great. Thank you so much. And Hatzlacha, and we should celebrate many, many Simchas in Am Yisrael
Amen.
very, very soon.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Bezrat Hashem.
Thank you.